Okay.
So now I am also going live,
Okay.
or rather gone live. Okay, continuing from where we left on Mandukya. So any questions before we start?
Not right now.
Okay, very good. No questions is good. Or that shows that understanding is happened.
Yeah, whichever way.
It can be taken.
Correct.
True.
Either fully understood or not understood at all.
Correct.
Yeah, there can be only two states. There can't be any other state. Okay, so continuing further is that the first state. Did we do this? I don't think. No, we didn't do it. We wanted to do it, and then it was already 9:30 plus. Jagarita sthanaha bahihi prajnah सप्तः अंगः एकोनविंशति मुखः स्थूलः भुक् वैश्वानरः प्रथमः पादः. So what we are talking is the first quarter, which is full of gross experience. So this is what is called as conscious world, or so there are three states of existence. One is conscious, one is subconscious, and third one is unconscious. The three states. In that, what we are calling is the conscious experience. Now, the GV which undergoes this experience, which is external based, and because it is waking state, it is only manifested as objects which we can see or hear or touch or taste and smell, and all of this creates the impressions which is called as thoughts. So this is the Vaishvanara part of it. So what is meaning of Vaishvanara is, one is that it creates sense enjoyment. So it starts at the navel portion. Vaishvanara, heart is the Taijasa, throat is Prajna, and the Agya Chakra is Turya. So now the consciousness enters through the navel region. So all gross experiences which bring to the enjoyment of it. When we say enjoyment, it doesn't mean that enjoyment as in enjoyment, it can be suffering or enjoyment. Pleasure and pain cycle is what Vaishvanara is all about. And this experience is experienced by all the beings, and it shows as though that individual alone is experiencing. So what I mean to say is that, let's say you are having breakfast and it seems like you are only having it. Nobody else in this world has any breakfast, even though we all are eating together. So it gives that microcosmic experience. Whereas the experience, what is happening is, as soon as there's a waking state, all beings go in search of food. That's all they do. Nothing else they do. So we call that as breakfast. Animals might call it something else, and birds might call something else. The insects might call something else. Whatever term that is used is not of any importance. But what in search is that pleasure for which pain has to be undertaken. So no pain, no gain. So this being called as a human being, as myself, goes through this enjoyment cycle, and this is done by all. and that is the cosmic Purusha who is doing it. That means all of this gross field of experience is experienced by that monstrous being which we looked at, Virat, like that. So this becomes totally gross experience, and because gross is available, the mind gets fully concentrated on that gross, and it gets preoccupied itself with what to experience. Sometimes it wants to experience something, and then some other time it wants to experience something, so it keeps on experiencing. So basic aim is to only experience, and that is what we are doing, and this creates papa and punya cycle. Okay, so when we have tremendous punya, there seems like unending pleasure, and when there is papa, then there is unending sorrow or pain, both in body as well as in mind. So let's understand what this Sapta Angaihi is all about. Any questions still here?
No, I think it is clear. So it's Virat Rupa, what we discussed. That is what is corresponding to this Vaishvanara, or the waking state.
Yes.
The gross, the complete physical universe across.
Yes.
It's only the physical universe, right? That's what we can see. Does the Brahma realm of existence also come into this?
All realms.
Okay, but then Brahma realm of existence is not the physical universe, right? The gross.
There is subtle, but the thing is, presently, when we say waking, we can take this one rather than worrying about what other beings would do, because this experience extends to all realms of existence.
Okay.
When the mind comes up, it comes up with all that there, because it's one fabric of consciousness, so you can't have multiple layers.
Okay, understood.
So, but we don't know what is that kind of experience, because it is more of a mental experience rather than the physical experience. Ours is also a mental experience, but seen as a physical.
Correct.
So who is the enjoyer is the mind, not the physical body. But it seems like the physical body is enjoying. Let's say
Yes.
I go for a walk. I did not do anything to sweat. The water is coming, but then I call that as sweat. And then the mind enjoys because it is going to become lean, meaning the body is going to become lean. Body doesn't want to become lean or fat. It's a mind which wants it to look lean or fat, or whatever it wants to look. Like if I have white hairs on my head, it is not that the hair wanted to turn white. The mind doesn't want that white hair to be there because it looks ugly. In its opinion, it is ugly. So it feels that it is ugly. So it wants to color. But hair as such has got nothing to do with what color is applied on that. So this gross experience of the mind is what is called as Vaishvanara.
Okay.
So we have the microcosm and macrocosm of 7. So one is Swarga, which is heaven, and in the body it is the head. Then we have Surya, which is eye, in the microcosm, and in the macrocosm it is Surya. Then the third one is Vayu, and the microcosm it is the prana. Then Akasha, and in the body it is the trunk, and in the microcosm it is Apo, then it is the bladder. Then we have earth, which is Prithvi, then that earth is represented as feet. Then there is ever unending fire, which is Agni, and that is the experience through mouth. So this is the 7 limbs. So 7 things are there in this Sapta Anga, 7 limbs. Through which we feel everything in this world. Then we have 5 Jnana Indriyas, 5 Karma Indriyas, 5 Pranas, Manas, Buddhi, Ahankara, Chitta. All of these are 19 mouths of Vaishvanara, through which the experience is made possible for the microcosm and macrocosm to appear. So now we have a sensory perception created through these 7 limbs and 19 mouths. And that is called as world of sense objects. That's all what we are doing. Confused?
No. It's clear.
For you
Anyway, we have discussed this when we discussed this Virat Rupa.
Correct.
In Bhagavad Gita also, right? And
Yes.
we have discussed in length, we try to experience it. All that we have done. So,
Yeah.
it's clear.
So I am also checking with Padma Shri. Any questions or anything you have?
No. I'm okay.
Okay, good. So now what happens here when we are in the first state or first pada? The second and the third and the fourth pada no longer are accessible. That is the dream state, the deep sleep state, and the fourth state, which is Turiya, is not accessible. So the mind is completely engrossed. Then you say mind is that instrument or the container called mind, Manas. Buddhi is completely occupied with the sense objects. Ahankara feels that I am enjoying, and the impressions what have been there is there in the Chitta. So the Chitta comes and goes and comes and goes and comes and goes. That's all keeps on happening in the person's life. Nothing else happens in his life. So all the prana, that is prana, apana, samana, udana, vyana, and 4 antakaranas keep on interacting with the 5 karmindriyas, jnanendriyas and all that, and then creates an experience which seems to be real. So the objective of waking state is to provide a sensory experience which looks real. Now, having understood that, we'll go to Swapna, second pada. Swapnaha sthanaha antaha prajnaha sapta angaha ekona vimshati mukhaha pravi vikta bhuk taijasaha dvitiyaha padaha. So now from the gross it enjoys the subtle through the 7 limbs and 19 mouths again, but this time it is internal conscious world. So all the impressions which are stored in the mind, which were unfulfilled as desires in the morning in the sense that morning, afternoon, evening, night, 4 states of existence, whatever could not manifest now is there in the subconscious mind and unconscious mind. That mind which is in slumber is unconscious. That mind is in semi-conscious is the subconscious, and that mind which is interfacing with the world is the conscious mind. Now from the slumber, where deep stored impressions are there, which is the starting point of the vasana, that gets the push through the samskara and creates a deed in the mind called as karma. And since there are no sense objects and senses to pick it up, it picks up itself. So mind recreates all the sensory experience itself. It doesn't require any kind of external intervention. So let's say I wanted to become a company owner. So presently I'm an employee. In the dream state, I become that. I fulfill that wish or desire or whatever. So he is enjoying or suffering through his projection in the mind. So what happens is the subtle body which is there as Sukshma Sharira becomes part of that experience. So it will be experiencing the next reality, which is the Swapna. So he or she will enjoy and suffer. Sometimes the person might get up with fear, sometimes he might get up with a very pleasing sensation throughout his body, because that dream created that kind of event for him. So he is completely attached with his dream. So then we say that a dream can be made into reality, because now we want to bring it to the 5 senses and 5 sense objects plus the 5 karma indriyas and all of that, and the pranas and everything will operate. So when it operates at a gross level, the idea becomes something which can be manifested. So it was just an idea which came in, whether it is a good idea, bad idea, whatever it is. So the dream was there, and in the dream he has seen it, and after a while it manifests. So then he is or she is very happy that my dream became true. So we say dream come true. This is the second experience. If we don't have any questions, then we'll go to the third experience also. So now we are in third experience, which is deep sleep.
Yeah, no, the second one is equivalent to Hiranyagarbha.
Yes, that is correct. So all beings go through this experience. All beings.
Yeah, correct. So the first one is Virat Rupa. Second one is this Hiranyagarbha.
Correct.
Right, okay. So this is the womb of everything. So everything starts, the subtle impression starts here.
Yes, the subtlest is in the third one, when it becomes unconscious.
Yeah.
So he says here, Yatra supta na kaschana kamam kamayate na kaschana swapnam pashyati tat shushuptam shushuptasthana ekabhutaha prajna ghana eva आनंदमयः हि आनंदभुक् चेतः मुखः प्राज्ञात्रयीयः पादः. So this is the prajna. So what we have to develop is the prajna, wisdom. And this wisdom presently is in a sleep state. It is not in a state where it can experience. So majority, when we say it is avidya, ignorance, is this state. There is no desire, there is no dream, and all experience merge into the unity of undifferentiated consciousness, which is what it is all about. So death is this undifferentiated consciousness. So this being, as soon as it is dead, meaning as soon as it loses the consciousness of the body, which happens every night, and it happens permanently one day, then this being will go in a complete hibernation or sleep. But the sleeper is filled with bliss and experiences bliss forever. So there is voidness without any substance at all. And this is the unconscious state. So none of us are conscious of deep sleep. So if a yogi is able to bring this consciousness of the preceding two states, that is the waking and dreaming state, to the deep sleep state, and understand it completely, how it happens, then he has prajna. So the experience of sleep becomes different from the sleeping state, because the sleep denotes bliss. Sleeping denotes a process. So what happens here is that the physical dimension and the mental dimension no longer exist. So this state, if well understood, takes him to the fourth state, which is Turiya. The thing what we need to understand is that this blissful state is experienced by all beings, irrespective of what they are. And it doesn't matter whether they are Hindus or Muslims or Christians or Jews or this or that or bird or animal or whatever makeup one has. So it cuts the nama and rupa, this state. And this is the state one needs to be in when in waking. Then he has attained what he should have attained. Because there are no relationships at all in this deep sleep state. No matter whether somebody feels compelled that he should have or she should have, or not compelled, it doesn't really matter. The person doesn't exist. So during this sleep, the sleeper remains very close to the absolute reality, but is unaware of this reality. Whereas in a meditator, he goes to this state knowing very well he is in that state. So that's the difference between a meditation person and a non-meditative person. Non-meditative person is meditating in ignorance. Meditation, a person is getting into the deep sleep with knowledge, meaning he knows. So that leads to the fourth state called as Turiya. Questions, or shall I continue?
Something came to mind and it dropped off.
Okay.
So you mean to say for the yogi, the deep sleep he can observe?
Yes, he can observe in the sense that not this deep sleep what we get into. He will experience what is that called as deep sleep.
Yeah. So in the not actually when you're sleeping, the deep sleep is experienced, but then when you're meditating, you reach into that deep sleep state with awareness.
Yes, correct.
Okay. So then, what are these lucid dreams? So that is the previous state, I think.
That is a
Right?
previous state. That is a previous state. The unconscious state becomes conscious suddenly. So it creates reality. And since it is very close to consciousness, it manifests.
Okay.
So let's say I am able to see somebody dying, and 10 minutes down the line, I get a call that so and so person is dead. I call it as intuition, but actually, what has happened is that from the unconscious state of existence, where is just consciousness which is there, that has manifested in the mind as a lucid dream, wherein I feel like I've gone to that person's funeral and I suddenly wake up. 10 minutes from then, I get the news that the person has just now expired. Or whatever. Now I get a job. So from that unconscious state, suddenly this lucid dream happens in the subconscious, and then the subconscious mind immediately wakes up into the waking state, and in few hours time I get a call saying that you have got a job. So I feel, wow, my dream has come true. So then a lot of theories come around that, okay, you can make your dream come true, how you should dream, and all that concepts will start. But
So
yeah, go ahead.
I have one question. So when you are dreaming, it is like whatever is the unfulfilled desires.
Correct.
So that will get manifested, and then the mind itself creates that and then fulfills that.
Correct.
Right. So when in the dream also you will enjoy and you will suffer.
Correct.
So even those dreams also will create those karmas again.
Dream creates karma, but you are not involved. You are not involved. So there is nothing that it will associate with you.
So then, okay, so it will not be actually in actual sense, it will not create any karmas or vasanas or anything. So it just exhausts.
Yes, it only exhausts whatever is there.
Okay, but that's a good way, right? So if you are able to consciously dream something, then you can clear off your vasanas.
Yes, everything is conscious experience. If it can happen, then you are in Turiya. So you know how things are working.
No, but I think maybe the yogis are able to control their dreams, isn't it?
No. It's not like that. When you become a yogi, Lata, automatically dreams will stop because there is nothing to dream. See, when you are able to cut the 5 sense objects, that is, the Jagat is removed, the Jivi and Ishvara remain. So it's permanent bliss, meaning it's always a blissful experience without having the object. Without the object, there is no dream.
Yeah, that's true.
So you go to the deep sleep state immediately. That's all. So now the deep sleep state is ignorance still, but then there are people who just sleep and then they are in slumber. They won't even know what happened. So what it shows is the Advaita state is in the deep sleep state. Normally we are in dream state, which is Dvaita. That doesn't mean that we are not having a deep sleep. We are. But it is always from the waking to the dream state is what we are in all the time. So we have a gross sensory experience and subtle sensory experience. So I also exist and the experience also exists. Meaning Brahman is also there and Jagat is also there.
Hmm.
So no way we can treat ourselves as Advaita.
Yeah, so then there is, actually speaking from the mental point of view, there's no difference between waking and the dream state.
Yes, correct. Because both are like a dream.
Yeah, both are like a dream, yes.
This is a wakeful dream and that is just a dream.
Hmm.
Here all five senses are operational. There the five senses are not operational. That's all.
Yeah.
We can sense everything. Okay. So then he talks about the causal consciousness, samasthiti. Eshaha sarva ishvaraha, eshaha sarvagdyaha, eshaha antaryami, eshaha yonihi sarvasya, prabhavaha api ayau hi bhutanam. So in this samasthi, what exists is Ishvara. So out of Jivi Jagat Ishvara, we have the Ishvara state of consciousness at the causal level. So this prajna is the bliss of ignorance. But the all-knower, which is Ishvara, has no such ignorance. So he is omniscient one, the knower of all. He is the inner controller who knows the heart. Antaryami. He is the source of all. He is the origin and dissolution of all being. So when the being comes up, meaning waking state, he takes them into dream state and takes himself as himself in the deep sleep state. So becomes Sarveshwaraha. He is being the Lord of all beings, wherein the person goes into ignorance. The mind gets into ignorance in the deep sleep state. First. Second, Sarvagnya Bijam, that is, he has all knowledge and omniscient, but mind is not able to make out that. Antaryami, he is the internal controller of all beings and he is there in every being. Otherwise, that being is unconscious. So, if we say that there is a conscious being, it means the Ishvara should be there. And he enters into the heart. And he is there watching from morning till evening to night. And in the night he withdraws. So he makes the pralaya happen. Yonihi, he becomes the source or the womb of all beings. And then the creation arises. Prabhavaha, he is the originator. Api ayau. So he dissolves what was created by the five senses in the deep sleep. So this is what we are doing every day till the body breaks down one day. So this is what is called as birth and death cycle. So there was nobody which was born and nobody is dying. It's just a name which was put on a so-called body, and the sound of that person calling created some impression, and that impressions happens in the morning and the afternoon and the evening and in the night, and that person goes with that impression in the deep sleep through the dreams. In the dream state he loses himself and a random experiences starts to happen wherein he or she is gone. He doesn't know where is he sleeping, he doesn't know who he is or she is, he doesn't know the family, he doesn't know the job he is doing, he doesn't know what company is working and all of that, and slowly the dissolution happens wherein the person is removed completely without residue, and it is such that it has no mercy. The dissolution has no mercy. So it's like this mercy killing. No, it doesn't have any mercy. Every night, irrespective of what I believe, I die. Simple.
So you get into a sleep because you're tired, isn't it?
Why are you tired? Can you think?
Yeah. That is right. So I understand. Our mind is going in different directions. It is getting tired by processing all these senses and all that kind of thing. So if you are able to be in that meditative state, I don't think you need any sleep.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
The sleep is for two. One is for this five elemental body which loses the energy. So it becomes inert. More and more inert creates tiredness because the prana is going away. The five pranas don't sustain. So I start extending my arm and trying out like that acrobatic thing because the oxygen level is coming down, and because of that the yawning happens, and because yawning happens the eyes starts to close, and the shutdown happens in the brain automatically because it doesn't have the power to keep on running, so it goes into sleep. It's not that I am going into sleep, the body itself starts to disintegrate, which I will never know that it is disintegrating. I still feel that I exist, and then I'm going to sleep. So I'll tell my wife I'm going to sleep, and she says, okay, go to sleep. So then I sleep. I don't even know when she came or when she's going to come or not going to come. Nothing is known. So that is the futility of our life. No matter what we believe, it doesn't.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
It's a small cycle of creation and destruction
yes,
every day.
every day from the time we are born, or rather from the time the inception in the womb happened, that is the time when we entered, and from then onwards it is just one way ride, dissolution by the end of the day. Nobody can do anything. It doesn't matter what I believe. My belief system has got nothing to do with what is happening.
Yeah, that's true. That is why this Upanishad is very deep.
Correct.
And meaningful. Yeah.
Now we come to the beautiful verse 7. न अंतः प्रज्ञां न बहिः प्रज्ञां न उभयतः प्रज्ञां न प्रज्ञः घनं न प्रज्ञं न अप्रज्ञम् अदृष्टम् अव्यवहार्यम् अग्राह्यम् अलक्ष्यम् Achintyam Avyaya Ekatma Pratyaya Saram Prapancha Upashanam Shantam Shivam Advaitam Chaturtham Manyate Saha Atma Saha Vigneyaha. So this is what is the 7th verse. So he first says what is not. The experience, what is not. Na anta prajnam, not conscious of the internal world. Na bahihi prajnam, nor conscious of external world. Na ubayataha prajnam, not conscious of both the world. Na prajna ghanam, not just a mass of consciousness. Na prajnam, not conscious. Na aprajnam, nor unconscious. This is what is this state of Turiya. So if somebody were to ask, okay, tell me what is Turiya, it is how, this is how it is. Adrishtam, beyond perception. Avyavaharyam, beyond empirical transaction. Agrahyam, beyond the grasp of the sense organs. Alakshyam, beyond inference, cannot be defined, cannot be comprehended. Achintyam, beyond thoughts, ideas and concepts. Avyapadeshyam, beyond description. Ekatma pratyaya saram, proved by the sole belief in oneself in all the three states. That is, you know you existed in the waking and the dream and the deep sleep. Prapancha upashamanam, free from world of phenomena which is created out of 5 senses. Prapancha. Shantam, tranquil. The prapancha is always story making, so that is gone. Shantam is tranquil, Shivam is auspicious, Advaitam non-dual, Chaturtham manyate, this is what is considered as the 4th quarter. Saha Atma, this is the Atman. Saha Vigneyaha, this is the one need to realize. Any questions on this? It's a huge one. I think this will take us at least 2-3 classes to complete.
Yeah, it is all the description, whatever is possible of the Brahman or of that state, what you reach. And there's no words can explain. That's why it is so big.
Yes.
And I think how much ever you discuss, you will not get it.
Yes, this is one thing where we can debate it forever.
Yeah, because everything you have told, it's not conscious of internal and external world, but not conscious. It is not a mass of consciousness. It is beyond perception, beyond the grasp of sense objects, cannot be thought of, cannot be described. Tranquil, all that, everything, whatever we have discussed in many other places.
Yes. So there are two.
This is something which has to be experienced. So the blissful feeling which comes, I think that is mostly could be the deep sleep state.
No, the bliss is no. It's like this, Lata. The bliss is deep sleep, but if you are in awareness that day when you did that awareness meditation, that is Turiya.
Ah, okay.
Wherein you know you are not walking. It is just walking. You know for sure you are not walking. It's the body which is moving due to consciousness. If I think I am walking, that means I have come back to the waking state.
Yes.
If I am in Turiya, I know that I am not walking. It is the consciousness which is making the body move. So there's a huge difference in understanding.
Yes.
That experience will always be blissful. Like if I think I am talking as Vilas, then I am back in waking state. If I know because of consciousness the sound is coming, its experience is totally different. Here there is no subject object in the fourth state.
Mm.
In the third state there is only subject, there is no object. In the second state the subject object in subtle way, and in the first state the subject object is in gross way.
Mm.
So here neither there is subject nor there is object. Whereas in the deep sleep the subject is there.
Yeah, so that's what I was thinking. In that blissful feeling which comes, the subject is still there, right?
Subject is there, so you are going to feel. Even in Turiya there is a blissful feeling and you know you are blissful. And
Okay, but then that you is there, no, still.
you is that Atman. That's what he says. Know that this
Okay.
is Atman.
Mm.
Which is what is called as reflected consciousness.
Okay, so with Turiya you are reaching reflected consciousness then.
Yes, and then you have to merge with it, right?
Yeah, then you have to merge with it. So actually, even in Turiya, you have reached only that reflected consciousness,
Yes.
or very close to the real Brahman, but still that last thing is not done.
Yes.
Okay, then it is fine. Yeah.
And that is what it says. See,
okay.
if it is your Atman, see in the microcosm level it is Atman. In the macrocosm state it is Brahman.
Yes, yes.
Right? So you cannot
Yes.
experience yourself in every body, right?
It's not possible, yes.
So you first experience Atman, Saha Atmaha, Saha Vigneyaha. Vigneya means there is what to be realized. This consciousness is reflecting in every body.
Yep.
And hence you get the perception of Brahman.
Yeah, correct. So you will become very close to Brahman. That's the next step. But then you will need to feel that you are there everywhere.
Which you will feel.
Mm.
See, first you will feel what is you. And when you really feel what is you, that you is gone.
Mm.
The ego surrenders, right? That is the one which
That
surrenders.
small you is gone. Yeah, correct.
That ego, that ahankara is gone.
Mm.
So the mind shuts down basically,
Mm.
leading itself into experiencing the consciousness for the very first time. So this is from an individual perspective.
Mm.
Now what should happen? I should transform it myself into consciousness everywhere, in everything.
Mm.
That is Brahman experience.
So all these slight blissful experiences you get during awareness meditation or otherwise is all the realization of Atma.
Yes.
Self-realization.
That's what self-realization, you can do it right now.
Yeah, that is possible. That's what I was thinking when you explained that is Turiya. Turiya, for me, it sounded like Brahman, the explanations.
No, the Turiya is Brahman, but what he says is that what is Brahman? See, the whole problem is that what is Brahman? Brahman means complete consciousness.
Yes.
So if you know one, can't you know all?
Yes, I understood, yes.
So they will not use the word Brahman.
Mm.
So Brahman perception will happen.
Mm.
What is to be known is Atman, but what that Atman experiences is the Brahman.
Mm. Yeah, correct. Understood. Yes.
Okay, so that's what it is. So as a normal individual, I only experience the ego of I exist. Through this process of Vaishvanara, Taijasa, Prajna, Turiya, I experience that experiencing thing called as Atma.
Hmm.
So I have reached the goal of self-realization. So now I am a self-realized individual. So presently, if three of us have understood and seen what it is, then we are self-realized.
Hmm.
That's the goal
Yep.
in this life, presently as it stands.
Hmm.
Now, having understood one, you will understand many.
Yeah, correct. Because it is the same everywhere,
Same
for
everywhere.
every being.
So you
Yeah.
have to let go of this limited Atman.
Hmm.
So that's another process. And that is the reason I was telling you that the last jump
Yeah, correct.
is not there. You come and
Hmm.
stand here,
You come and stand here. Everywhere in all the texts, you come and stand here.
which
Yes.
is which is better when compared to a normal person who doesn't know anything. And after seeing all of this only, I made that statement that the last step is missing,
Hmm.
which is very evident here, right?
Yeah, correct. In all the texts, when you read, this one last thing is not mentioned.
Yes, it doesn't say how do you get rid of that individual consciousness. Now I experienced individual consciousness. Perfect. Now I can imagine how it would be as an universal consciousness. But how do I let go the individual consciousness into the universal consciousness?
Hmm.
That is not there. And now he is going to talk about Om, Ma, and silence. So this Mandukya Upanishad ends up in self-realization.
Hmm.
So this, if we understand, we are self-realized beings right now, right here. So we don't require any further dosage of Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah, that's true.
This is the
Since
shortest. This is the shortest
yeah, it's
and
the
the
shortest
quickest
one. Correct. Shortest and the quickest. Yes.
to reach to self-realization. So what does Padma Shri say?
I agree with you, but for me, I felt that everything is the state. But how long you can stay in that state is what matters ultimately.
Correct.
We all undergo that state here and there for few seconds, few milliseconds, or okay, without okay. I'm not including this deep sleep because deep sleep is not with awareness. But even this Turiya state, I have a feeling that we all undergo it at some point in time. But that state doesn't become a permanent state for us.
Yes, that is correct. So basically, if we look deeper and see what has to be attained is there in the Upanishad and everywhere, but how to accomplish that? It takes up to self-realization, and the last step, what I need to do, misses there. That how portion. It gives every information. Na anta prajnam, na bahi prajnam, na ubhayatah prajnam, na prajna ghanam, na prajnam, na aprajnam, adrishtam, avyavaharyam, agrahyam, alakshanam, achintyam, अव्यपदेशम एकात्म प्रत्यय सारम प्रपंच उपशमनम शांतम शिवम अद्वैतम चतुर्थम मन्यते. Till this it tells you that this is what it is, but can you question how to reach fourth state? That itself is missing. What do you think?
Yeah, so I think in other texts it is there, right? In Shankaracharya and all, how you withdraw your senses and all that kind of thing.
So because of Nagarjuna, he was able to make that happen, and that is the reason initially, Lata, I was telling you that we need to meditate using our body.
Mm.
Otherwise, it's not possible. So that's the reason Viveka Chudamani, he brought about that what is flesh.
Mm.
And even in the case of Bhajagovindam, he brought that out in the second verse saying, Naris Tanabara Nabi Desham Drishtva Maga Moha Vesham Etan Mamsa Vasadi Vikaram Manasi Vichintaya Varam Varam. Without this step, you can't get into Turiya.
Yeah, so I think first we need to have the senses under your control.
Yes.
And for that is what you need is meditation.
Yes.
And then the mind will come under control and then other things will happen. So, but this is the first step.
Yes.
That is true.
Yes. So sometimes we feel, in fact, I think Padma Shri has also had informed long time ago that why are we talking about the body? But without that, it is not possible. You will get to know what, but how is that? First you have to get rid of that I am the body.
That's the most difficult part.
Yes, without that you will always remain in waking, dream and deep sleep. You cannot get into Turiya itself. So the process to be followed is, first we have to dissect the body, we have to look at the ugliness of the body, then we have to get rid of that body when it is happening in waking state, sleeping state, dreaming state and deep sleep state. The body doesn't remain. So in that way, counting oneself on the body is a disaster. So that helps you to get rid of death syndrome of the body. That means when I see a dead body, I will not cry. First step. Because there is no body. This is the first step. Meaning how? That will take you to Turiya. The fourth.
Okay, Vilas, I have to go to another meeting.
Yeah, same here. Okay, so
yeah,
let us end and again meet on the same subject on Monday.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, then thank you.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Padma Shri. Thank you, Lata. Bye.
Thank you.